Welcome to Live in Color. I'm your host, Jessie Perez. And if this is your first time joining us, Live in Color is really all about speaking a new language. Just as it takes practice to become fluent in a language, it takes practice to become fluent in color as well. But as you learn your colors, it can help you be more successful in every area of your life, both professionally and personally. Who couldn't use a little more of that, right? I love doing this. I get to interview really cool guests with fascinating topics. And as we explore our guest topics, we'll use color to explain who they are. And that'll draw straight from their temperament. Now, our guests have taken an assessment prior to the show that reveals their temperament color spectrum. Now, this isn't some mystic phenomenon. It's actually based on centuries of scientific research. But it's fun, too. Big, successful organizations have been using it for years to build teams. And for a long time, this has really been reserved for those fortunate enough to work for big companies who invest a lot of money in professional development. Today, I'm bringing it to you. As you watch, you may even begin to discover your own colors and the colors of those around you. So as we listen to our guests today, we're going to be listening for their colors. I invite you to play along and see if you can guess our guest colors before I can. You can go to wespeakcolor.com to learn more about speaking color and how it can benefit you and your teams. So check it out now and join the game. I am super excited about our guest today. She is one organized girl. I'll tell you, if you have any area of your house that you want to get a little bit more put together, you're going to want to stay tuned. I would love to welcome to the patio, Brina Payton. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, this is great. So I was super excited when I first got to meet you, and you showed me kind of like what you do in a house. But we're going to get to that. Okay. And I know that everybody wants to know how you go about this, because it's really unique. I've never seen anybody organize the way you do. But I want to know, like, you organize for a living. And so how did you get started in that?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I've been organizing my whole life. Like, I was the kid who would ask my mom, hey, can I clean up those shelves? Or in high school, I was the kid who'd call her friend and be like, I'm bored, can I clean out your closet? And then I was a middle school teacher and always kind of wanted to do it. You know, that's when the shows Clean Sweep was on, and Mission Organization, but I was a teacher. So, you know, and then I stopped teaching, and about a year later, a lady that I'd been begging for her to let me help her clean up her basement.
Okay.
And she was like, yes, okay, but I'm going to pay you. And I said, okay. And then we started working together, and she was like, yeah, you got to do this.
That's
and about
amazing.
4 months later, I registered my business name.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I needed some friends like you throughout my life. For real. I'm not even joking. So with this organizing thing, now, I mean, I guess lots of people go in and their house and they're like, okay, I want to be more organized. A lot of us have no idea where to start.
Right.
What to throw away, what to keep, how to even make it look good. I mean, I'm always a little bit nervous when I walk into somebody's house and it looks really, really good. I'm like, what do they know that I don't?
Did you open any doors?
No, usually not. See, and you know, with me, you could walk into my house and you might be like, wow, Jessie, but you open my cabinets, oh no, everything's where it's supposed to be. My closets, my towels where it's supposed to be. All the behind the scenes stuff, taken care of. It's just what is, you know, globally available that makes me look bad. So how do you go about this? Like, when you come into somebody's house, what do you do?
So the first thing I do, I go in and essentially I just check out their space and I just talk to them. They talk about, you know, what's working, what's not, what they're frustrated about, kind of just how they want to live their life, you know, because people tell me a lot, like, you know, we can't get out of the door in the morning, or my husband and I are always arguing because no one can find the checkbook when we need it, or stuff like that. And essentially, I just listen to them and then just kind of go from there. I mean, I have some set stuff that I do that it just works kind of regardless.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's just about hearing people, what's bothering them, what they've tried before, what they're frustrated with, and just going from there.
That's neat. Okay, so when you walk into one person's house and you sit down, you have the conversation, do you like start organizing right then?
No. So what happens is I always do a consult first. So essentially, someone invites me over and they show me their space and we get to meet because, I mean, it's really intimate what I do. I mean,
you're going
it's
through
really
all their
intimate.
stuff. Yeah.
And so a lot of people are really nervous. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I can't believe my house looks like this. And I always respond with, well, I think Kid Rock is hot. So we all have our things. And then, we just go from there. They talk, I listen, and then I come up with a plan of action and email it to them. Okay. And then we get started from there.
Nice. Now, is there any area you don't touch?
No, I'll organize pretty much anything.
I'm sure that somebody is out there wondering that question.
No, yeah. I love paperwork, though.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That is the bane of my existence.
That's the bane of most people's existence.
I don't mind big things. I will sweep floors all day long.
Right.
Ask me to file my paperwork, and I will put it off for like 6 months, and then by then it's,
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
No, I love it. Like a big pile of paperwork, I can just sit down with it and make sense of it.
We need people like her in our lives. So what is the most unique thing you've ever organized?
I did a small houseboat once.
Oh, that's cool.
What else have I done? That's probably the most out there. But I mean, I've done everything: attics, garages, basements, cars, classrooms, backpacks, purses.
Wow. Yeah.
Bathroom. I mean, pretty much the whole gamut. I'll be out with friends and I'll see their purse. I'm like, oh my gosh, give me your purse. Dump her out right there and clean it out. And they're like, oh, this is equal parts terrifying and awesome.
That is great. Now, what do you enjoy most? Do you enjoy the helping the people, or is it about the actual organizing you think you like the best?
It's both. I mean, organizing has always been something that I've done that calmed me.
Okay.
If I was stressed out, I would find something to organize. When my first year teaching, I had a kid who he was like, ooh, you look stressed. You need to go organize something. I'll watch these guys.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, no, I'm fine. And he looked at me and I was like, okay, give me 5 minutes. But the people part is what makes it. Yeah. I mean, the organizing for me, the organizing is secondary because that's going to get done. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just what I do. Yeah. But it's the interacting with people that's so much fun for me.
That's great.
Because I get to meet such cool people, and people invite you into their homes, and you essentially see them at their worst, and it's just so much fun. It's such a privilege.
Nice. Now, when people are they like feeding you while you're there, and really just kind of?
Oh my gosh! Well, people are always like, "Are you hungry? Do you need some coffee? Can I get you some water?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good. I'm okay." Normally, I don't work in giant chunks. I found that 2 to 3 hours if a client's working with me is the sweet spot because you got to quit before they're miserable and they hate me, and people can be like, okay, I can do something for 2 hours. And then sometimes we'll be in it and they'll be like, oh my gosh, this is really good. Can we keep going? And so we keep going. And then sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, thank God it's over.
Right.
But I usually do 2 3 hour chunks if I'm working with a client. Now if I'm by myself, I could be there all day.
Okay.
So.
Have you ever found like unusual things as you're organizing?
Oh, you have no idea. You have no idea.
Can you give us one without being too graphic?
I had $2,000 in cash fall out of a boot once.
That's neat. Okay.
And I called the client and I was like, hey, so I was organizing your shoes and $2,000 fell out. And she was like, what shoes did they fall out of? I was like, what shoes? Yeah, she said, I used to hide money from myself. I was like, me too, but it's like a 5 spot, So that was fun. I mean, there's been so many things. It's so much fun. In Nashville, it's really fun because I was working with a client once, and she had all of this Whisper and Bill Anderson memorabilia that she wanted to keep, and I was just kind of like, what are we doing? Yeah, it was her dad.
Oh yeah. Good reason.
Exactly. I was like, oh, okay, I guess you can keep that.
Yeah, I guess you probably would meet all kinds of different people in Nashville. We've got such diversity here.
I know.
Right? Yeah.
I know.
Well, with your organizing, do you do the same thing at home, or you just do it for other people?
No, I mean my house. Okay, So,
Uh-oh, I've asked a big question.
No, well, I operate from a philosophy called zero.
Okay.
Where you rate your space the way you rate your pain. So when I say we're going to get organized, what we do is we establish zero.
Okay.
So we figure out what state your house is going to be in, where it's not causing you stress, it's not making you crazy, you wouldn't be embarrassed if someone came over.
Okay.
So, and I tell people, like, we establish zero, but most people live in like 1, 2, or 3.
Okay.
And then when you start feeling creepy crawly, you clean up. So my house is organized. My friends that come over are like, oh my gosh, your house is crazy organized. To me, it's like a 3, you know, but I'm kind of a secret slacker. Like, I want to get the biggest bang for the least amount of work.
Okay.
So, you know, like for paperwork, I'll tell people, so we have 3 paper trays: to do, to pay, and to file. Do not file until that tray is full. You know, just because there's no use. I mean, you gotta conserve your energy.
Yeah, use it for something more fun, right?
Exactly, because the whole point of being organized is it's not an end in itself. You know, it's a means to a bigger end. And I tell people, you know, our goal is so you have the time, space, and energy for the good stuff in life.
Okay. What do you consider the good stuff in life?
Oh my gosh, for me, the good stuff: hanging out with friends, going to see live music, stuff like that. You know, I read all the time. But it's just about, you know, having that freedom to make a decision. Yeah, so-and-so's in town. I'd love for them to come over, and not think, oh, I'd love for them to come over, but my house looks like it blew up.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, that makes so much sense. You know, when you were saying you've always organized, I definitely figured you for like somebody who just like needs to have everything in its place all the time, and that's like the end, and that's the focus. But it kind of surprised me to hear you say that it's really about getting things in order so you can go do other stuff, and it's not about the organizing.
And I think that's probably what people are most surprised about with me is, one, they're like, wow, you're not what I thought you'd be like at all. Because I'm not. One of my clients is like, I mean, you're kind of type A, but you're like the most laid back type A I've ever met. Because it isn't about, I mean, like, cute bins and awesome labels. I mean, it's great, don't get me wrong. But, you know, you can't just do it you've got to have a bigger reason, because it's not like you just get organized once and you're done.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I mean, there's that maintenance that comes in. I
We
mean,
wish.
That's terrible. I know. It's like losing weight. It's not like you just lose the weight once and you're clear, you know?
Donuts! Bring on the donuts!
You know? I know. And it's the same with being organized. So what you've got to do is you've got to figure out systems that allow you to live the way you want to live, and still not feel creepy crawly in your home.
So can you give us an example of like a system? So if somebody, maybe their kitchen, for example, and they have things out on their kitchen. I'm asking for a friend. How would you kind of like say, okay, what would a system look like for a kitchen?
Okay, so what I would say, kitchens are probably the most complicated place to organize.
I always start the hard things,
yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, I love doing them, but I also don't cook. I mean, it's just full disclosure. But I can organize a kitchen. Essentially, like, anytime you have a ton of stuff on your counter, what I tell people and what I do is you get it all in one spot. So essentially, all your mess is in one spot.
Okay.
And then the rest of your kitchen is clear. It's the way you want it to look. And essentially, you look at all the stuff in your pile, and you look at it, and the first thing you think is, okay, what do I want to go back on the countertops? So you grab that stuff out and kind of put it back, and you make your countertops cute.
Okay.
And then you see what's left, and you're like, okay, so now I got to figure out what's left. And then what you do is you start sorting like items together.
Oh.
So instead of like picking up one thing and being like, okay, this is a kid's toy, I need to put this wherever, and going to do it, because you're gonna run yourself ragged.
Yeah, sure.
What you do is you sort, you know, so if you have like toiletries or paperwork or dirty dishes or kids' toys, you're going to put all those things together, and then you're going to deal with it category at a time.
Oh, there's a good process there.
Yeah, and it works really in any space.
That's fantastic. So I can see now how you'd like go in and like kind of lay down the process for it. And now the 0 to 10. So if 0 is good, 10 is bad.
10 is like you're actively being mauled by a bear.
Oh my goodness. You walk in and you walk right back out.
And most people call me at a 9 or a 10.
Okay.
You know, and the thing is what's so cool about 0 is no one determines what it is but you.
Okay.
Because I go into some houses and I'm like, and I'll look at them and I'm like, this this is not a big deal. This is not going to take long. And they're like, I understand coming from you that it might not be a big deal, but it drives me crazy. And I always tell them, you know, it's not what you look at, it's what you see. So it doesn't matter if it's not a big deal for me. If it feels like a 9 to them, then it's a 9.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, most people are pretty, it's actively being mauled by a bear. Call me.
So how do people find you?
Most of the time, Google search.
Okay.
Yeah, like Nashville Professional Organizer or Nashville Organizer. I don't know. Nashville. My house looks like it exploded. I don't know. Yeah, so most of my people come from Google.
Okay.
Or just word of mouth.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people. You would not believe what she did for me. You need this in your life. And when a friend tells you that, either they're a really good friend or you stop talking to them.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
So, that's awesome. So when you were talking about like some of the things that you like to do for fun and kind of get out there, would you consider yourself somebody who's like really engaged in social activities, or do you kind of keep to yourself? You kind of are blending it a little bit with the music and the reading. And
yeah, I mean, I love hanging, like getting together with friends and hanging out and stuff like that. But I'm also one who, you know, like I'll lay on the couch and read all day too.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, I don't like high maintenance stuff.
Okay. Anything that's just easy.
Just easy, yeah. Because, you know, my friends will be like, hey, do you want to get together and, you know, we can hike and da-da-da. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Do you want to go out to eat? Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to go to the movies? Okay.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice that you can just kind of like go with it, relax. You know, that seems to be a common theme in your life. Just go with it.
Yeah, you know, I tried for so many years to control everything.
Okay.
And, you know, and I drove myself and everybody around me crazy.
Okay.
So it's everybody in my life, me included, is much happier this way.
Nice. Well, I mean, just talking with you, you clearly like to have a lot of fun.
I do.
And so that's something I can definitely, you know.
And that's one thing that's really important to me with my clients, because I feel like, you know, disorganization, people carry it around.
Okay.
You know, it's this weight, and people avoid their house, and they, you know, they spend too much time shopping or whatever, you know, that just exacerbates the problem. And so I always tell them, like, the solution isn't going to be miserable. You know, like, we're essentially gonna get in, and we're gonna work, but we're gonna laugh, and we're gonna talk, and we're gonna have a good time. And I had a gentleman once tell me, I did his office, and he goes, wow, that wasn't nearly as unpleasant as I thought that was going to be. I was like, I'm going to put that on my website.
Nearly as unpleasant.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
thank you.
So you do offices as well then?
I do.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess you do purses. You pretty much you do pretty much anything.
Yes. And people ask me all the time, so when you walk into somebody's house, you know, is that the first thing you look at?
Yeah.
And it's actually not.
Okay.
I mean, you know, if someone asks me, I mean, I'll tell them, but it's not like I walk in and I'm like, oh, girl, need some help. You know?
Here's my business card.
I know. Sometimes I do. You know, you walk through neighborhoods and garages are open, and I want to just kind of start pitching them. But
well, you know, a big question I'm sure, like a lot of us have, how do you know when to throw something away?
So usually what I do, okay, here are the questions I ask people. Do you love it?
Okay.
Have you used it?
And have you used it like ever, or is there a time limit? Do you ever plan on using it?
So usually I'll be like, have you used it? And there's like this, I used it once, like 8 years ago. And then it's, would you buy it again today?
Okay. Okay.
And then things change a little bit too, depending on how much space you have. Because if you have a lot of space, then you get a little more leeway in what you keep, because you have more room to play with it.
Sure.
Whereas if you live in a small space, I mean, you know, each object really counts.
Yeah. Right.
But like I had a client a couple weeks ago. She said, we found like a waterproof mattress pad.
Okay.
And she said, oh, I'm going to keep this for grandchildren. And I looked at her and I was like, your kid is in the 3rd grade. You're so not keeping that.
See, I need somebody like you to tell me you plan on using that if you ever do this thing.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Yes. So, you know, I mean, I'll never make someone get rid of something. It's just not, I just choose not to be that way.
Right.
But I'm also going to tell you what I think. And a lot of times people just need to talk it out because you initially, some people have a really hard time letting go of stuff. And they always think that I'm going to make them get rid of stuff. Like my dad is like, I don't want you to come in my shed because you're going to make me throw stuff away. And I'm like, that is so not true. But once you talk it out and people kind of realize, oh yeah, I have just been hanging on to this because I thought I should, or my mom told me I should, or I spent a lot of money on it. That's a big one.
I'm sure.
And the thing you have to think about is, yes, you spend a lot of money on it, but if it's not serving you, and your space is worth way more than what you spent on it, your space and your well-being and having that flexibility to have time in your day and in your life for the good stuff.
Yeah. That's neat. That's I think a totally different way of thinking about organization than I had done in the past. Really, it was, how can I make this look good and have enough like white space in my life where I don't have something in every corner, I've always been a project person. And so for me, it's not that I have like just junk, like stuff all over the place. I have very little garbage, very little dirt in my house.
Right.
But because I was such a project person, I was like, well, I'm working on this project and I'm not going to paint for a while, so I'll put my paints away. And I'm going to work on this project. I'm not going to do woodworking for a while, so I'll put this away, and like all these other projects. And now I've got like 2 like stacks of like things that should be in a closet, but I can't because the closet's full.
Right. Well, and it's really hard too because you'll start stuff and then time goes by.
Yeah.
And then it's difficult because sometimes that's not who you are anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I've been there personally where something that you used to love and used to define you, and then you grow out of it or whatever, and then it's hard to let it go.
It is. Yeah.
And that's kind of when that talking it out helps a lot. And because the thing is the other thing I tell people is if you really don't know if you want to keep something or get rid of something, keep it.
Okay.
Because you can always get rid of it later.
Yeah.
But once it's gone, it's gone.
Too many times, and this is probably why I don't get rid of stuff very often. I'll get rid of something. The very next week is when I'm ready to need it again. I'm like, you kidding me? I've had this for 8 years. I haven't used it in 7 of those.
And now I'm looking for it.
And I need it tomorrow.
And I gotta go buy another one. And that's why, too, like anytime, any space I organize, honestly, the first thing I do is we sort like items together.
Okay.
So essentially, we have categories like paperwork, tech, toiletry, books, toys, clothes, sports, decor. So essentially what you're doing is in a room, you're going to have all of your office supplies and you're going to see exactly what you have. Okay. And so you can be like, oh, hey, I have like 7,000 Post-it notes. I don't really need all of those. I can get rid of some.
Sure.
But you also might be like, oh, I have 7,000 Post-it notes, and I go through them like nobody's business. And so we look at that and I'm like, all right, we just got to figure out how to store it. So when you do need it, you can get to it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, that's great.
Because it's not just about getting rid of everything. It's just figuring out just kind of how it fits in your life.
Sure.
So you can get to it when you need it and you can put it away. Because if it's a pain to put away, you are so not going to do it.
Sure. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Wow. I think this has been really eye-opening, and I know that it's been eye-opening to some of the people watching as well. And so if they want to reach out to you, what's the best place they can reach you?
Probably, I have a website, which is oneorganizedgirl.com.
Okay.
And then email or phone call or text.
Okay.
And all that information is on my website.
Great. So if you want more information, go to oneorganizedgirl.com. That's awesome. So I'm totally having you come to my house today, by the way. Yeah, we are going to work through some of that kitchen and paperwork. So I think it's time actually to play the game. And so you took the assessment before.
I did.
And I have to say that sometimes it's really easy to pick up on colors. Being so organized that you've been like that your whole life, I was like, oh, she's gold. She's gold. And then as we got talking, I'm like, but the things she's saying aren't lining up with gold. She's really organized, but it's not that's not like the point of it. And it's all about going and doing something else and the fun. And I'm like, oh, that's not really gold. Like, how do I work this out in my mind, But one thing that was standing out to me is that you really love to be around the people.
I do.
You love to help the people and to get in there, and it's all about kind of like those relationships and everything.
Yes.
And so that's very blue. And so I'm going to hold on to the blue because my gold got all skewed. So I think you got some gold in there. I know we're all a spectrum, but you got to have some gold in there. But you know, you are like super fun, and I've really enjoyed talking with you so far. We've laughed a lot, but you don't like hiking, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Okay,
but
I can suck it up.
So your gold and your orange, they're kind of playing with me. Because like you've got all of this order and task and ability to like refine my life. But then like you seem like a whole lot of fun, and I know we were talking about music earlier, and you really like you're going to your concerts. So I don't know, tell me a little bit more about your concerts. It might help me make up my mind. What kind of music do you like?
Well, we've been going to see J.J. Gray and Mofro a lot lately, which I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's like Otis Redding and Leonard Skinner mixed together.
So you more of like a risk-taking like music instead of the hanging
kind
out?
of,
Okay.
Bluesy, kind of rock. I've seen Kid Rock a lot.
Going a little bit more orange over here. Would you say if you were going to take a vacation, would you be more open to kind of go like spur of the moment, or need to really plan it out and have every detail covered?
Oh, spur of the moment.
Okay, you've made up my mind. Thank you very much. Sometimes you just need to ask the question. When in doubt, ask. Okay, well, somehow you're pulling on your gold really, really well then. I'm going to go ahead and draft your color card then.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to put that blue right up front. We're going to follow that orange right behind based on your last answer. I have to put this here because if I put it at the end, I'm going to be like, what in the world? There's no way. And what that means that I didn't even talk about your green, so I'm going to put that at the end. So I guess we'll see. Are you ready to reveal your colors?
I am.
All right.
Okay.
And it says, oh, yeah, that's right. So definitely you got that relationship thing going on. And then you are a lot of fun, and you definitely had to help me out with that because, woo. I am amazed, though, that you do this and you love it so much, and that it's been so much a part of your life with your gold being as low down. But, I mean, you've really pulled it in there, and it's just become part of who you are. It's been beautiful. You know, it's kind of a neat way to show that even though you might lead with a color, you can still reach in and use things from the other colors, which is really awesome. And you know, if you want to learn more about your colors or people around you, you can go to the Color by Design, that's the book, and just kind of give you a really good introduction on what the speaking color is all about. You'll probably identify your own colors and some really neat scenarios and cool stories about how they're used and how they've been used by other people. And another neat way to learn your colors is through workshops. And so you can learn more about both of those online at WeSpeakColor.com. It's been so great.
Thank
so
you so
much. A
much.
little gift for you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.